Thank you for taking the time, Jonathan.
Oh, thanks for having me. Really
Yeah, of
appreciate it.
course. If you can just start by telling me a little bit about what drew you in the first place to working with Unbound and yeah, just like what kind of called you to them.
Sure. So, um, how I found Unbound was that I was looking for a nonprofit or a charity to kind of give back to, and I wanted to find something that was a trustworthy charity. And so I think I went on Charity Watchdog or one of those sites that rate charities, and they were in like I believe I want to say like the top five transparent and solid, impactful charities that came up, and and I looked at them and I thought, oh, like they're doing a lot of good. You have options to sponsor a child, change a child's life, or even like an elderly person, which a lot of charities don't focus on that. They mostly focus on the kids. But even elders need, a consistent quality of life. And when they don't have the means to do that, they need the help. And so this was a charity that offered that. I'm sponsoring children, as it were, but and I think that was for me, that was like the main thing was to try to find um, something that spoke to my heart for kids and the development of children and making sure that they grew up with resources and the ability to succeed, like most of us that grew up in the United States here often take for granted. And so yeah, I got paired up with this little boy in Tanzania, and then last year, in 2023, I was asked to be a part of their millionth child, Unbound's millionth child sponsorship, and I didn't hesitate because I had had such a great interaction and experience with the child that I was sponsoring, the boy I was sponsoring in Tanzania, and you would get letters and you would get updates, and they really seemed like they really took the time to let you know like what's going on in the kid's life, what's going on in the family's life, and their community, and how you're benefiting not just the individual child, but essentially the whole community. So, yeah, it's been a wonderful, beautiful, life-giving, impactful relationship on me, just as much as the child, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. So you recently went to Rwanda and Tanzania.
That's right.
What was it like? Just, take me a little bit through your trip.
Oh man, it's mind-blowing the level of poverty that the majority of the world
Mhm.
lives in. Like we have most of us here have no idea. I got a glimpse about 25 years ago when I first went to Senegal of the level of poverty that exists, but I had never seen it growing up, fairly sheltered in suburban New York. And so um, the closest I had come to poverty were seeing homeless people in New York City when I was traveling, and but this was, stepping outside of the country and seeing what happens on a massive scale was just, I mean, it was heartbreaking. And so I always felt that, when I had the means to do so, and even when I was, even when I didn't have the means, the same kind of means and availability of resources that I do now, I always felt drawn to kind of helping and giving back. And so to be able to go to visit these children that I've been connected to through sponsorship and to see exactly how my resources and resources for everyone there who's being sponsored and the people doing the sponsoring, how those resources are being stewarded and to what level of impact they're having. To see that actually come alive and see what the water treatment programs that they have set up are, how they manage their resources as a community, how they're able to then build, like savings, like a savings account, and be able to steward those savings towards individual needs within the community. Seeing that in person lived out was just I mean, it was so fruitful, and it was so powerful for me because, you could see the tangible effect that your contributions were having, and and how little went so far, so if you gave the modest amount, I think the initial amount they suggest is like $40 a month. um that goes so far. And so then if you are able to give more than that, it like compounds the effect of how their lives are changed, um, in an unfathomable way. Like, yeah, it was truly powerful.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's funny. I just told you that I was speaking to David Henry, and he told
Yeah.
me the exact same thing about when he went to Guatemala. It was like it was incredible
Mm,
to see how much they did with so little and the
yeah.
joy that these people had, which is,
Yeah.
something that here in America we could probably not comprehend. Um,
Despite having nothing, the joy that is
yeah,
kind of inherent within them.
exactly. So did you kind of experience something similar? Was there maybe an interaction that really stood out to you while you were on your trip?
Yeah, I mean, I think meeting the parents and the parents' gratitude, and a lot of the kids being sponsored are being taken care of by single mothers. Many of them have, it's just a single mom family, but meeting those moms, and in the rare cases, the dads, I mean, they're just so blown away that they're able to get this kind of help, because as you're driving sometimes several hours through the jungles and through these minimally developed infrastructures, you're seeing droves and droves of people living tribally, and it oftentimes just in shacks that there's garbage everywhere, and then when you can get to some of these communities that have this system in place where they're able to be helped, it's like a world of difference. It's night and day, and you can just sense their gratitude and the joy that they have within them to God, really, for allowing them to be part of something that allows them to flourish in a way that they didn't anticipate that they could.
Yeah, no, for sure. You've touched on it briefly, but how did this trip affect your faith or affect you personally?
I mean, it's just the Beatitudes come to mind, feeding the hungry and clothing the naked. And that's basically what you're doing when you're working with a company, a nonprofit, not a company, but a nonprofit organization like this. You are doing just that. You're allowing them clean, in many cases, the clean water, so the ability to clean water that are usually derived from these streams that are terribly, like unbelievably polluted. You see, like at one point we were walking through these fields where the stream came, and at various points along this stream, there were people just filling up jugs. And you look in the stream, and there's just trash just wedged by the side of the bank of this little stream. And they're still using it to like shower and sometimes drink after they boil it, and bathe in it. And so it's just, it's unreal that they're able to survive for the most part, despite their circumstances. And so knowing that, um, I'm able to contribute in a way that helps them move beyond that. I mean, it's literally being Christ to these people by giving them what you have, so that they can live a better life. And I was just telling a friend the other day, like I was on their site looking at some other things, and that they'll show photos of these other people that are in need or being sponsored, and I'm like, I could just that there's no end. You could just continue to sponsor people. I mean, there's no shortage of people. There's like I think 20,000 kids that still need sponsorships. But I recognize I can't do it all myself. Which is why I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to come and talk to you and your audience about what they do because and they were started by Catholic lay people like 40 something about 40 years ago, 40 couple 41, 42. I don't remember the exact number, but 40 something years ago, over 40 years ago, a couple of Catholic lay people started this organization, and and it's just taken off, and it's done so much good for so many people.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, even just here, like personally, my husband and I adopted like a family in our own community.
Oh,
So they don't have like
wow.
kids, but the parents can't afford, their Christmas gifts. So we went Christmas shopping.
Mm.
That's true. It's everywhere. Like there are so many children in need and people in need. And so it's just so nice to see someone like yourself with such a following doing so much good. So it's very nice.
You know, when you've given, yeah, I mean, it's, I can't remember which chapter and verse that Spider-Man took it from, but with great power comes great responsibility, right? And when you have that platform, it would be, I don't know, it feels like a sin not to use it for the benefit of others who are suffering in this world.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to my next question is why should we as Catholics, especially as Catholics, get involved in organizations like Unbound and give back?
Because it's what Jesus mandated us to do as followers of him. I mean, as members of his original church, we were tasked with doing just that. And so by doing so, um, you have the opportunity not only to be Christ to other people in the world, but to encounter Christ in the world through poverty, through these different people. I think it was Mother Teresa that talked about, meeting Jesus in the in her service towards the poorest of the poor, and every opportunity to serve is an opportunity to do just that.
Switching gears, I see you're wearing your new hoodie
Yes, my
release
new hoodie,
drop. Can you tell me a
Gaudete
little bit
pink
about the new
Sunday
hoodie,
hoodie.
the ladies' tees? So we were just talking about
Yes.
shopping.
Yes, so I have here the pink hoodie. I'll colloquially refer to it as rose in honor of the Gaudete Sunday, the rose color. But it is pink on the website. Yeah, so we got hoodies for a limited time. These colored hoodies, and then also women's cut T-shirts, which come in white, black, and then uh, I think mint and green. Yeah, like a mint green. So yeah, there's a whole selection of different shirts and hoodies for people to kind of enjoy, especially as the weather gets a little colder now. Hopefully well, these are really comfy, cozy hoodies that I think people have really been enjoying and yeah, just kind of sporting. I think I met somebody recently that had I was at an event and they had the t-shirts and then I'm getting messages now from people in like Brazil. They're like, I just got my hoodie, so or my t-shirt. Yeah, in Brazil, they're like, we wish we could have the weather to wear the hoodie, but it's still too hot. So I think it's summertime there for them right now anyway. So yeah, but these are going to be available for a limited time. And yeah, I think after the Eucharistic Congress, it just it they sort of took off. The shirts took off, and so I just wanted to have something new to offer people and see how it goes. And for as long as I have them, I'll sell them to people and yeah, they've become really great conversation starters, and a lot of people are like, what is this? What is that? What does that mean? And who is Flannery O'Connor and or F. O'Connor and why did she say what she said? And why is there a passage of scripture from the book of John on the back there? And so it gets conversations going pretty good. I'm pretty excited to see what it's doing just in some of the communities that have reached out and responded.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when you wore it at the Congress before you made your announcement.
Yeah.
I tweeted a picture of like a screenshot of you wearing it and like with the
Oh,
explanation
really?
of the quote, and it went like
Very
totally
cool.
viral on CNA. And
Oh,
then you came out with the
cool.
shirts. I was like, there you go.
Well, the next day after I had worn it, there were people were sending me screenshots from stores on Etsy that had popped up where people were just counterfeiting them, just like they were making their own versions of them. Like, wait, give a guy a chance here. Let me get a crack at it, you know. So I ended up doing just that, and there's a little tag on the inside that is very specific to the shirts and the hoodies that I put out. So unless they have that mark, that tag, that logo, they ain't mine. So if people go to my website, which is just simply jonathanroumie.com, they can find the only place to get the hoodies.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's always so nice chatting
Thank
with you.
you. Likewise. Thanks, Francesca.